Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on June 8th, 2022 at approximately 6:35 a.m. PST. It really is time to get things organized, and I do believe we're making headway. Question for you. Well, actually, we'll do this first. If you like the videos, do give us a thumbs up and absolutely subscribe to the channel, as we've got a lot of information coming out now. It really is important that we start working together. I came back to this world for one primary purpose this lifetime, and that is simply to let everyone in existence know that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, the catch to it is this: you're going to have to do the work to be successful for you. Now, in the material world, now there's two aspects of life that you really have to pay attention to. You've got your home. That's the feel of your primary living space and your primary workspace. Okay. Yes, we got something in my eye. By the way, this is a live reading, a live recording. Meaning when I get done, I simply turn around, double check, make sure I got the date right, and then post it as is. Any hiccups, any quirks, you get them as is. I just don't change them. Okay, so we have the home. That is the feel of how your primary living space is. Okay, and then you have the house, which is the financial, the material running of it. Okay, now in both cases, the brain of the home, the brain of the house are both in your office. Okay, the cerebral cortex of the whole system is you personally. And here's the thing: you can get all the guidance in the world that you desire. If you don't pick up the tools to use them, all that guidance is totally useless. Okay, but you're going to have to do the work. Now, where it comes to your finances, okay, which is kind of a critical issue if you like having a roof over your head. Now, whether you're paying mortgage or you're paying a rent or you're paying rent, it's the same bill. The only difference is it's a difference in landlord. The only time you actually own the property in some ways is if you never pay land taxes again. Okay. And the only place I know that they do that, and this is just absolutely appalling in my eyes, is apparently the land upon which the actual physical church is built, don't apparently get taxed. Now, I'm no tax adjuster. I'm no tax calculator. Heck, I go to somebody else to get mine done. But the thing is this: whether you happen to be paying rent or you're paying a mortgage. If you're paying a mortgage, you're paying rent to the bank. Okay, it's that simple. If you're paying land taxes, let's say you paid the house off, you're paying land taxes, you're paying rent to the country, to the government. So you're still paying rent. It's just a different landlord. Okay, but here's the thing. Now, because where is this thing here? This little list here. Okay, I strongly recommend that you utilize this. Now, if you see this, it says, we have legally acquired a minimum of $3,800 by May 31st, 2022. Which, by the way, means as soon as I get to the office here, like once I get done this video and a couple of errands, I've got to make a new one of these. Because I didn't make the 3,800. Now, I only require 2,500. Okay, but I didn't make that. I made the 25, which is fine, because 25 is what it required to run the household. Okay, but this 3,800 is what I was aiming for, and for the first time in 6 months, I actually fell short. Then we have at the bottom here, it says, Inner Voice Enterprises has legally generated a minimum of 700 by May 31st, 2022, and again, I didn't make that, so I'm leaving that 700 and this 3,800. Okay, I'm leaving these numbers alone. They will stay there, and I'll aim for them for the 31st. Okay, but here's the neat little part about it. This 700, because this is a home-based business, that 700 fits inside this 38. Okay. Now, since I didn't make the goals I was aiming at, this does not mean that I failed. This simply means that I fell short of what I was aiming for. You fail when you quit making the effort. Now, the first thing that happens when a check comes in from anywhere, take a look at the members of your household and understand the real big issue of your house is if you've got people living there with you and they're doing chores. Okay, they're helping run the household. Now, this is just my personal outlook. Okay, but do understand, I call myself a spiritual guide because the tools I offer people are the exact same tools I personally utilize and that have personally turned my life around and taken me from one step shy of being on the street to having 3 months easy sitting in the bank where if I do nothing, I'm still ahead of the game. Okay. Now, when your paycheck comes in, okay, there are two bills that are absolutely critical in one sense. There's actually three bills, but the two we're going to start with, you've got to have your rent or your mortgage paid because everything else, if you don't have a place to live, the rest of it won't matter. And the second most important one in those, the most important of your utilities, is your power. Because again, you don't have power, you don't have any way of operating anything else. Okay, this is the critical factor to it. Now, that said, the other bill that is, in my opinion, almost more important is when a paycheck comes in. Okay, take a look at that paycheck. Now, my last paycheck was $971 for a 2-week period. The important factor is it was 900. I'm talking my job. Okay. The important factor is the 971, not what it's from. Because you take 1% of every complete $100 and you give that to each member of that lives in the house. Okay. So if you've got kids, absolutely. If they're doing chores, you don't worry about, you can worry about a chore schedule and what have you. But if they're helping around the house, even if you're asking them to do it. Okay, you think about it. You go to work, your boss says, I need you to do this job. Okay, he's asking you and he still pays you for it. Well, if you've got kids and they're doing the chores, they're saying the dishes, they're doing the laundry, whatever it is. Okay, if they're doing the chores, then you give them yourself, your other half, and every one of the kids living in the house. Okay, this does not include renters. Okay, renters are another issue altogether, and we'll get to them afterwards. I'm talking about the people that are living with you that are not paying rent. Okay, you give them 1% off the top of the check that comes in, and the reason for this is because it changes the feel of the income from I'm working to pay my bills to I'm working and paying my bills. The other thing I will tell you wholeheartedly is sit down with your kids and show them the finances you're going through. Yes, it can be embarrassing. Oh, I'm behind the 8 ball. But understand this. If you don't teach the kids and you don't show them in real time what you're going through financially, okay, they're going to get out in the world having no clue and they get to go through the same thing you're going through. I'm thinking this isn't necessarily a good thing. Okay. So when you take a look at it, it's absolutely imperative you get things organized from that end. So the check comes in this case, okay, I made 971. Well, that means I got $9 right away. My son got $9 right away. And that's all the people that live with me. Okay, it's just the two of us. Okay. But those $18 will not do any damage to my ability to pay my bills. Okay, it just won't. If it does, then yes, obviously, the first two bills that have to get covered. Okay, you pay the mortgage, and you pay your power. Okay, then you take a look at the original net income. 1% off the top goes to everyone in the household. Okay, everything else, quite frankly, yes, it's all going to be paid. And if you're running short, you may have to make adjustments. They say none of this is concrete. Well, that's not true. You've got to make sure your rent is paid. You've got to make sure your power is paid. Okay, other than that, the rest of it you can work around. Okay, it's just that simple. I mean, I remember having a client one day that phoned me up. They were in desperate financial straits and they were really behind, about to get their power bill cut off and their cable. And their primary concern is, I've got to get my cable paid. I absolutely have to have my cable paid. I can't be without it. And I looked at them and went, you might want to pay the power first, but I can't have the cable cut off. Well, no, but if you don't get the power paid, it won't matter if you pay the cable. Well, why not? You require the power to run the TV for the cable to be of any use. So we got them straightened around, but this is what I mean by you've got to have your priorities straight. And that boils down to, because money does not care how you feel. It doesn't matter what kind of a mood you're in. It doesn't even care what color you are. Okay. But it really is an issue of money will work the same way for everybody. Now, I saw a brilliant video this morning that has nothing to do with anything, except it was just comical. It says the stock market described, the stock market explained in one minute. Right. It shows this guy. He comes along. There's an open little lip underneath a little lip on a roll-up door, and there's a little gap there. So this guy sits down. He's got an empty juice box and an empty bag of chips with him. So he's sitting down. And he just backs the juice box under the door, and a moment later, two full ones come out. So he pushes his empty chip bag under the door, and two full bags of chips come out. Then he digs into his pocket. He pulls out a couple of empty packets of gum, fires them out the door, and out come a couple of full things of gum. Then he gets a brilliant idea and he says, I'm going all in. Doesn't say that, but that's what he's looking at. And he grabs all the juice, all the chips, all the gum, and then he pulls out his wallet. And he throws it all underneath the bin. All underneath the door. And the door closes. The way I look at this, that means if you're playing with the stock market, that's no problem. But only play with money that you personally can afford to lose. It's like the casino, just with a lot bigger returns, usually. But whenever you're gambling on anything, you only work with money that you can afford to lose. This also, by the way, applies to people that if you're loaning people money, or if you're turning money over to people, make certain that you can afford to lose it. Okay, and this doesn't matter how much it is, because karmic law is very simple. You must be true to you first. And because of that, if you're giving your money away, okay, and you're not getting anything in return, if you're giving it away too quick, what's likely to happen is you're going to set yourself up short, and then you're going to need help. Okay. So, I mean, when you take a look at it, when you're and I am a firm believer you should help people. Absolutely do, because like I said, it is going to take everybody to work together to make this a better world for virtually everybody. Yeah, I'm putting my boot on. I'm running behind schedule today, so as soon as I get done this, I'll double check it and post it. Well, I'll double check it, save it, I'll post it when I get back. But you have to make sure you're taking care of you as a critical priority. Okay. And I'm going to, hopefully I didn't go, no, I'm not. At this point, I'm just not. I was going to say I'm going to pause this and go plug my phone in. I should have plugged my phone in originally, but I'm just not going to do that. I'll take it with me and hope for the best. Anyway, when you're looking at the money, I'm a firm believer you should help people. Absolutely. And to that end, I'm going to be doing something a little different today. Okay. I just have to check numbers to make sure I can get away with it. So, since I'm sitting here, I might just as well. I do need that open. Nice thing about having multiple monitors is I can look at things. Yeah, I can have everything up and running at the same time. But when I talk about giving money to help people, I flat out refuse. Like I will sign petitions and what have you if I agree with it, but I flat out refuse to give money to major charities because only at the best charity, and I don't recall the name of it, but the best return on it that I ever heard of, that I personally witnessed, was where 30% of the money you donated, meaning 30 cents on the dollar, went to the actual charity. The other 70% went to the pocket of the people that set the charity up. And I don't blame them for it. I mean, it's the administration costs is what they're using for a reason. For me, when I go to give to charity, and this is where I said I'm going to be doing things a little different. Okay, I'm going out to I will be going out for lunch this morning. But here's the kicker to it. I've decided that effective immediately. Okay, in all fairness, I decided a couple of days ago when I organized everything, where my idea of charity is very simple. I won't be giving to the major ones because they don't actually send most of the money to the charity. Okay. Now, I did find out a friend of mine, yeah, you think it was a friend, it might have been a relative, I don't know. But it turns out, if I go, like, with the food bank, if I don't donate money, what I'll do is I will buy food and drop it off at the food bank, go here, spread it where you can. But then it's food that is going to somebody that needs it, and even as rumor has it, if people that are working there are taking the food home, it's still people that require it. Now, the funny part about it is I do a lot of my shopping in a way in what I call lobby shopping. For whatever reason, people leave food in the lobby. And I mean canned food, solid, sealed boxes, and what have you. And from my standpoint, it's a real simple issue. Okay. From my standpoint, it boils down to this. Okay. The food comes in, even if somebody that is working there is taking it, food is a necessity. We all have to have it. And I will tell you, as a near millionaire told me, 5 cents is 5 cents. So what I'm going to be doing today at the restaurant I go to, they've got a special on. So I'll just watch and I'll pick one that I'll pick a table I can afford. And I will simply foot the bill for it. And the reason I will do that is because, well, I can. Okay. I've always help people as much as you can. Millionaires are no different than your paupers. They still have bills, they still have things they have to pay. Yes, they make more money. But a dollar in a millionaire's hand is still a dollar in there in it's the same as a dollar in a pauper's hand. Not percentage wise. Okay. But understand, if I see somebody that is outside begging for money. I don't give money. Okay, if they're outside a grocery store, I will go in, I will buy them something from the grocery store and go here. That way I know that at least I'm helping them in a way that works. Because people won't sell money for drugs or won't sell food for drugs. They just don't. Lord knows I've been around enough people that do drugs. And no, I don't do them myself anymore at all. I used to. Way more than my fair share. But I'm not saying this is what you should be doing. This is simply what I am doing. I do agree with the idea of giving a percentage of your income to helping other people. Absolutely, I do. But I'm not about to to put the money into another corporation's hand. Whether they call themselves a nonprofit or not does not matter. You can bet your bottom dollar I will never open a nonprofit organization for one reason. I don't believe, I don't believe in going into business. If you're going into business, you're not going into it to not make money. Okay, it's an extreme fallacy in my eyes. So will I end up increasing my charitable donations as in helping people around me? Absolutely. Now here's the kicker. I just got a check. I just got on my last paycheck, like I said, 971. Well, if I agree with 10%, which means out of that, out of that check, I have allocated $90 of that, which is 10% well, $97, right, which is 10% of my income, of my net income. And that's after covering my bills. Okay, and that's the thing you got to remember. The money comes in. Get your household operating dealt with. Okay, and then deal with the charity work. Because if you don't take care of you, you don't have any money to work on charity. Now, for me, this means like I made the 900, right? But I require 25. And when you think about that, okay, I know last month combined I made 31. So I had $600 over what I required. So I can take a look at that 90 that 90 that I've got there, and I can pay for somebody's meal, or I can pay for somebody's groceries in line. Okay, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this. Okay, in my eyes, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Okay, meaning if somebody's willing to foot the bill for me to do something, I'm quite willing to accept it. Okay, the trick is to do it with no expectation. Okay, so it's a very simple issue for me. I'm just not interested in it. It's like I'm not interested in the recognition aside from you understanding that this is a way that you can give back to your community without damaging yourself. I mean, if you think about it, I require 2,500. Okay, that includes utilities, food, insurance, entertainment, and savings for the future. Okay, because let's face it, I'm 59. I've got to take that into consideration. Okay, but that's all taken care of in that first 2,500, which means the fact I made 31 means I've got $600 that is just surplus. And yes, what I don't utilize for other people, I will put in my pocket. Okay, and I will put towards saving. Okay, but the reality is, I've got the money I can work with now, which is something I have not had until this year. Okay, so that's where things are changing at this point. I'd love to hear your comments on what you see in that regard. If you've got questions in any field, because the reality is I've been working in the consulting field publicly since I was 10. Okay, meaning 49 years at this point, and professionally, as in generating income, since I was 23. Okay, which means I am now looking at 36 years professionally. And it's time I start really pushing the idea of taking this money, this surplus that I am now generating, and putting it back into the community. The other thing I did, everybody's bringing their prices up. I was charging, up until the beginning of May, I was charging $180 an hour. Okay, for my consulting fees. And that's with personal, business, UFO related, metaphysical related, it didn't matter. My time, I was charging $180. But as of the 1st of May, well, that's going to have to just wait. Okay, now that I put that on hold, where was I going with that? I have no idea. I just pulled an absolute blank. I hate that when that happens. But, so we're just going to leave that hang because I forgot what I was saying. But, when you take a look at helping other people, as long as you're taking care of that's where I was going. I've taken care of all of that. So that extra money that I've got room to work with, I will absolutely turn around, and I certainly encourage you to do the same thing. I will never start up a charity myself. Well, that's not entirely true. What I won't do is start up a charity where the money coming in from the charity is being utilized to run the charity. Either the charity will be handled 100% by my own hand as far as expenses go, or it won't be set up. Because what I look at is this. I will find all I do is I work on a very local base. If I see somebody that could use it, and I don't care if they already have have the money. From my standpoint, yeah, it takes money to go to a restaurant. Okay. But everybody is entitled to having a little bit. Okay. So what you do is you turn around and give what you can, certainly, but make certain you take care of your own income first, of your own expenses. Because if you're not taking care of your expenses, you're going to run into a very similar problem. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to let you go. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.